The anniversary is almost here, and with it almost every character in the damn game is getting a rerun. I am sure many players are wondering who to go for, new players are looking for the best value, and old players are looking for, well, validation I guess. So here is my ranking from the least to the most valuable characters that I got for the past year. Let's kick it off at number 10 with Yinlin. It hurts me, it really does. Yinlin was the character that made me start playing Wuthering Waves to begin with, and she has one of the sickest designs and animations in the game, but time has not been kind to her. Let's ask the question, why pull Yinlin? Well, she buffs lightning and liberation damage and has coordinated attacks. Issue: before, Yinlin had a place with Jinhsi thanks to her coordinated attacks, but nowadays zhezhi and cantarella are better. That is if you want a 5-star to fill the spot. Also, there are only 2 electro DPSs in the game and Calcharo sucks, and there are only 2 liberation characters in the game and Calcharo sucks. And the lightning and liberation character is one and the same, xiangliyao. So the only reason to ever pull for Yinlin is for xiangliyao. Speaking of which, number 9. He is a good DPS. In fact, if you are looking at the performance across all endgame modes, he is like the 3rd best DPS in the game. He is amazing for your roster diversity, as he is currently the only electro DPS in the game and the only liberation character in the game. However, if you reach the point where you are looking for elemental or damage type coverage, then you have most likely played the game for a while, maybe from the very start, and you probably already have him because he was given for free. And his main issue is that he does not excel at anything. Is he one of the top 3 DPSs for Tower of Adversity? No. Is he one of the top 3 DPSs for Wuthering Waves? No. He is just shy of the top in both cases. There is a good part to this, as he can get the job done in both modes, but for me it simply means he's vulnerable to power creep and he's a placeholder until you get more specialized DPSs for each endgame mode. 8. Roccia. She is the best support for Camellia. Unfortunately, the F2P option, Sanhua, is extremely close to her performance. When I tested her, Roccia provided 5% more damage to Camellia compared to Sanhua. That is nothing considering one is a limited character and the other is free. Nonetheless, 5% is 5% and she does increase the damage ceiling of the best AoE DPS in the entire game. 7. Phoebe. We have way too many Spectro DPSs in the game, man. We have Jinhsi, we have Phoebe, and Zani is coming for a total of 3. All the other DPSs only have 1, with the exception of Fusion, which I guess Kuro forgot about and never gave them a limited 5-star DPS. Leaving Zani that has not been released aside, Jinhsi and Phoebe have similar performances. I do believe Jinhsi performs a tad better than Phoebe in Wuthering Waves, but that is not the reason why I put her below Jinhsi in the ranking. Phoebe's damage relies on enemies suffering from Spectrophrasal, and right now only Spectro Rover and the upcoming Chacona are able to apply this state. Issue: 𝗏 is getting released probably in the next patch, regardless very soon, and everyone, myself included, is expecting her to be the new best DPS in the game, to be completely meta-defining, because she's the equivalent of an Archon in Genshin Impact. Regardless, her best team includes Aero Rover and Chacona. You see it now, right? You can't use Spectro Rover if Aero Rover is tied to 𝗏, and you can't use Chacona if Chacona is tied to 𝗏. This will leave Phoebe with a grand total of nothing. She still can be used as sub DPS, but that works only with Zani, meaning you're gonna have to pull 4 characters in 2 patches. That said, if you don't plan to go for 𝗏, first of all, how dare you? But in that situation, you can alternate Phoebe's and Jinhsi's positions on this ranking depending on which of the 2 you like more. Just remember, Jinhsi is slightly better in Wuthering Waves than Phoebe in my opinion, while Phoebe is more F2P friendly since she does not require any other limited 5-star character on her team. 6. Ziyan. Beast in Wuthering Waves and very easy to play. He is however worse than Camellia in that department, and with Wuthering Waves requiring only 2 teams, he is in danger of power creep. And remember, 𝗏 is on the horizon. 5. Brant. This guy does everything. Heals, shields, damage, buffs, you name it. But Kuro is funny with fusion characters. Brant is the best support for Changli, but Changli herself is a sub-DPS who is meant to support another fusion DPS. Fusion DPS that does not exist currently in the game. That fusion DPS is probably gonna buff Brant, and we will get an Ouroboros type of situation, but right now we lack the last link. 4. Changli. Same as Brant, fantastic character, incomplete team. She is above Brant because even in her current state she can still compete in Wuthering Waves with the best DPS out there, even though you do be needing more skill to properly master her than others. 3. Jinhsi. She is Phoebe, but instead of Spectro Frazzle she needs teammates with coordinated attacks. Unfortunately, the best options are all 5 stars, so she needs another 5-star limited character on the team besides herself. If you don't want to do that, or you don't have the currency, then you might as well go for Phoebe. 2. Zhezhi. Zhezhi is one of the most universal sub-DPSs in the game. She buffs glacier and skill damage and provides coordinated attacks. AKA, she's one of the best partners for Jinhsi, only Cantarella comes close to it, and she's the best partner for Carlotta, and at the same time she can substitute for Brant on Changli's team, so yeah, deserved number 2. And I guess all of you already are aware. Number 1, Carlotta. If Camellia is the best AoE DPS in the game, then Carlotta is the best single target DPS in the game. And this does not mean she sucks at AoE either. She is one of the best characters for Wuthering Waves, and at the same time she is, in my opinion, the best character for Tower of Adversity. She and Camellia are the duo, the 2 best DPSs in the game. Combine those 2 and you can handle anything the endgame modes are throwing at you. Of course, since Camellia is not available for the anniversary, which missed chance Kuro, same with Shopkeeper. In any case, this makes Carlotta, in my opinion, the number 1 priority to pull for. What about the new characters though? Well, it is hard to give them an exact placement when they are not even released, but I can give you some tips. It all comes down to the question, are you gonna pull for Cartetia? If yes, then Chacona should be your number 1 priority as the only character in the game that can apply Aero Erosion. Otherwise, her only other function is gonna be as a Spectro Frazzle applier for Phoebe, and you should wait for people to test her to see how much of an improvement she's gonna be. But frankly, I'm expecting her to be a skip for the most part in that situation. Zani though, unless she's gonna have the highest multipliers in the game with the biggest damage you have ever seen, she is a straight up skip. If you pull for Cartetia, you're gonna need to get Chacona, and if you want to go for Zani on top of that, you are looking already at 3 limited characters that you are gonna pull for, and that is if you don't plan to go for their signatures too, and that is if you already have Phoebe, otherwise you're gonna need to pull for her too, so yeah. And if you don't plan to pull for Cartetia, then you'll still need Phoebe, and if you have Phoebe, you'll already have a top Spectro DPS. Not to mention, getting Zani does not mean you're gonna have 2 DPSs now, but that you are simply gonna change Phoebe to a sub DPS. Ultimately, it does depend on preference and the gameplay style. This is my personal ranking, so obviously I will have some bias here and there, even though I try to be as objective as possible, but everyone values different things at different levels. In any case, until next time, have a wonderful day, good luck with your anniversary pulls, and bye!